Good morning. It's Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers. What a special morning for me. We just had Christmas and been very busy eating all that food. Well, thank you very much to those people who prepared and went to a lot of trouble to make sure that our Christmas and the families is a special one. And today is Tuesday, the 27th of December, 2022, and it's Italian lesson number 60. That means today is the last lesson for this series here, because, you know, I will take a break after this, and I'll come back to Italian lessons when the lessons start in early February. So I'll sort of run them as if we're at school again, so that I get a break in between occasionally, and I'll be able to prepare a lot better. This particular series has grown because of my need to communicate what I know, because of, I don't know, I think it's in the third age. I think there must be something to it, that you want to leave behind a legacy of sorts. And I've been very, very fortunate in life because I've actually ended up doing what I really love doing. And, you know, I always say, faccio quello che mi piace quello che faccio. It's a good saying, but I've always had humanity and the world in my mind, always, from a very young age. I still remember reading Reader's Digest when I was 9, 10, and, you know, the Cold War at the time. I couldn't... And so you sort of, when you're young, you tend to believe these things and whatever happens in the world, and you then have to deal with it in a way. So that's why I've sort of been attracted to history. History is a great teacher because it gives us the opportunity to look at what has happened in the past. And then I discovered that history can also be manipulated. You know, it is national. Every country looks after its own history, in the educational areas too. So people choose a particular section of it. And I thought to myself, no, this is not right. I've got books here in Insegna, for all of the continents. Why not then do a world history? It's been done before. It's not that it hasn't been done before. But, you know, when you take it on as an individual, it's big. Because there's all the knowledge of the world is out there. Especially now with Google and, you know, Chrome and all the others, Safari, all the other platforms, and Netflix and all the other platforms in the media. There's a lot. So wonderful documentaries. There's everything. But then we have to sort of follow our heart and say, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to learn a language. I'm going to do the culture. I'm going to do some history. Okay, well, we can do the sport as well. Why not? We can do the religion, of course, and we can do lots and lots of other activities that interest us. But these things here are things of the mind and the spirit, and therefore knowledge is an important factor in our life. And, you know, I used to ignore details in the past, not to ignore them, I sort of, you know, if it wasn't in my area, I wouldn't look into it. Now I tend to go there as well in the details. And when they say the devil is in the details, it's true. When you're dealing with technology especially, when you're dealing with cooking, even when you're dealing with your shopping list, you have to check things out. So this Italian history has led me back to my Latin. I was able to read in Latin once again since my secondary school days. And I've enjoyed it very much. Of course, there's a lot more that I can revise. But then it's led to the literature part, Italian literature, and realizing that Italian language, as we know it today, it's only started about 1,000 years ago, in a more formal way. Before that, it was used in after the fall of the Roman Empire and the distancing of Latin, the use of Latin amongst the people, because it was the Dark Ages. It wasn't the Roman Empire anymore, and things sort of broke up. So people started to mix again and be themselves, and some people choose to, for example, French was developed a lot faster than Italian in those times, and even, French really, not even German. German kept the Roman grammar type of idea, with the declensions, etc. So there's a lot that can be learned about our history, our language, what we need to know. And so let's do it. It's 11:30, and I just want to say thank you to all. I'll say it now. Thank you to all who have followed me online and over the year and 2 or 3 months. And so we'll take a break, but today I'm going to do Storia della letteratura italiana. We'll finish off with Dante Alighieri, with his minor works. Then we got to Speak, Parla, Speak, Parliamo l'Italiano, and I'll introduce a lot of songs because I love them. Okay? I said last week, about Roman Latin summary, I'll give a bit of a summary in my own words at the end. Okay, so let's start. It's 11:31, time to start. Okay, so we mentioned the other minor works of Dante and his life in previous lessons, and they're all available, of course, in Insegna.com, in the blog, on YouTube. They will be all available there on YouTube, and of course in TomPadula.blogspot.com. Okay, so let's start today with La Monarchia. This is one of Dante's major minor works. Questo trattato politico in 3 libri latini dà sviluppo ampio e autonomo a una tesi già esposta occasionalmente nel Convivio, al 4º volume 3-5. Dante non ammette soluzioni di continuità nella storia umana, la quale gli si dispiega allo sguardo con un unico dramma dalla creazione e peccato di Adamo al giudizio universale. So he doesn't look at the nations. He looks at more from a Catholic point of view. Ogni problema particolare si inquadra così in un disegno universale. I popoli, non meno che gli individui, essendo parti dell'umanità, e i limiti temporali delle varie epoche storiche, restando quasi cancellati dalla provvidenza divina, che memore del passato è sciente nonché sollecita dell'avvenire. So he sort of looks at all the people, and the individuals included, especially individuals, that we all fall under the umbrella of this divine providence that dominates our life and should dominate our virtues as well. What we need to do in order to achieve eternal blessings after we're gone. Concezione grandiosa, unitaria, suggerita dal ricordo dell'universalità di Roma e dallo spirito del Vangelo cristiano. So the 2 things that come to Dante when he writes, that is the universality of Rome with its Roman Empire beginnings, and also the spirit of the Christian gospel, of the Bible, if you like, both the Old Testament and the New. And also the other sections, the other religions before the arrival of Christ on earth. Ora, considerando la vita terrena come preparazione a quella celeste, si discuteva nel Medioevo a quale delle due supreme potestà competesse il primato, se allo imperatore, in quanto investito direttamente da Dio nella missione di ordinare i popoli del mondo, oppure al Papa, in quanto unico vicario di Cristo e mediatore quindi di ogni investitura divina. I sostenitori di quest'ultima tesi assomigliavano l'impero alla luna irraggiata dal sole e il papata al sole stesso. So what happens here in the Middle Ages that this divine providence, this divine rule, if you like, gave the emperor the right to fix up, to give some regularity, some law to the people on earth. And the Pope was supposed to represent Christ on earth with his angelic, well, with his benedictions. In other words, to deal with the spirit rather than with temporal matters. Of course, during the Middle Ages, of course, with the acquisition of greater power by the Church, the two things became entangled, and therefore it was very hard for the emperor to conduct himself in the way that that God wanted him to do what was right on earth, because the interference of the Pope. And the Pope and the ecclesiastic said, well, if the Pope has got this spiritual right to oversee what the emperor does, then maybe it's a good thing that the Pope interferes with it. So that was, the polarization of views. Nel fatto poi le attribuzioni rispettive delle due potestà apparivano confuse, specialmente perché gli ecclesiastici avevano misconosciuto o usurpato i diritti imperiali. So this is what Dante believed, that the clergy had usurped the temporal powers of the emperor. Un esempio recente se n'era avuto nella condotta tenuta da Clemente V, Papa Clemente, alla discesa di Arrigo VII, that was the emperor. Dante pensa che i mali molteplici che travagliano la vita dei popoli abbiano radici appunto in quella confusione di poteri. This confusion of power gives the various people on earth a very difficult time. E questi poteri egli definisce e delimita. So he defines the powers and also says, delimita means he puts each in its place. L'umanità non può organizzarsi che in monarchia universale. So humanity can only be organized but a monarchia universale, universal monarchy. Non solo perché ciò rientra nei disegni della provvidenza, it comes directly from providence and from God, la quale consiste nella vita contemplativa. So the design of providence gives you the right to contemplate. Vita contemplativa, to be aware of the spirituality that we have within us and to do the right thing, but then to follow the rules of the emperor. Capo di tale monarchia è l'imperatore. So there's no way that Dante believed that the head of temporal power belonged to the emperor, che riceve la sua investitura da Dio stesso. So he receives his investiture from God himself, mentre al papato spetta la direzione spirituale del mondo. So to the Pope, il papato, the Pope Empire is for the spirituality of the world. Per preparare le anime all'eterna beatitudine, to prepare all souls to eternal benediction. Il potere temporale dell'impero e quello spirituale della Chiesa sono tra loro indipendenti. They are independent powers. Sono due soli, benché Cesare debba a Pietro quella riverenza che un primogenito deve al padre. Give to Caesar what it's Caesar's and to God what's God, according to Christ. That's that's a sort of idea. And this, by the way, looking at history, was picked up by the French Revolution when they put aside the temporal powers of the church and said, you cannot come. We're going to be, follow democracy. We're going to follow, the three ideas, liberté, fraternité, and whatever, the other elements. When you're not there, not concentrating on it, it's in a way just bringing it in. Dottrina conforme al precetto di Cristo, dà a Cesare quel che è di Cesare e Dio a quel che è di Dio. That's what Christ said. Per cui Dante si innalzava come arbitro e giudice sulle posizioni unilaterali dei Guelfi e dei Ghibellini. So Dante took this on himself, and he became a judge of the contradictions between the Guelphs and the Ghibellines. Quanto alla sede dell'impero, essa, per scelta della provvidenza, è Roma. Alla sede, il cui popolo è un popolo eletto come quello di Israele ed ebbe uso la forza per instaurare la giustizia e preparare l'avvento del cristianesimo. So the Roman Empire was given this direction by providence, by God, in order to prepare for the advent of Christianity and the arrival of Christ on earth. Quanto all'Italia, anch'essa deve inserirsi nello Stato universale. He did not consider Italy as a united Italy. He said it belongs, Italy, with all its differences, etc., belongs to this Stato universale, universal state. Benché ne costituisca la regione privilegiata, essendo il giardino dello imperio. It's like the empire's garden. Dante non ha il concetto politico dell'Italia. He does not have a political view of Italy as such. He was a Florentine. Pur considerando come un complesso geografico, etnico e letterario. When he refers to Italy, he refers to it as and again, Metternich, after Napoleon's defeat, he said that Italy was no more than a geographical expression. So un complesso geografico, etnico e letterario. And so, in other words, he wanted Italy to be united in its language. And, its ethnic people to be sort of there, but they belong to this universal state in preparation for the good times you're going to have in paradise, if you do the right thing. If you don't, you expiate in purgatory. And if you do not, you do not bow your head to God, to the Father and the Son, and the Holy Ghost, you will go to hell. You will live eternal life in penitence, in punishment. Now, that's it. Le altre opere minori, here he says, in my chronology, etc., when I began the actual chapter on this, he said there were a couple of other things about Dante's works. There were also 13 epistole latine. Epistole is like a letter, an essay. Non tutte di indiscussa autenticità. Some of them were given to They said belonged to Dante, but there was no authenticity about it, so we don't know. Specialmente importanti sono le 3 scritte in appoggio dell'impresa di Arrigo VII, una ai comuni e signori d'Italia, una seconda alle città di Firenze e la terza allo stesso imperatore. So he wrote 3 things about i comuni, the municipalities and states within Italy, a second for Florence, and a third one to the emperor himself. You can write to whoever you want, even today. I can write to Putin and say, "Hey, listen, what are you guys doing?" And then I put it down, and in 100 years' time, they'll read my writings. That's the important part. But now all the world is writing. It's not bad. It's quite a world now. Quella indirizzata ai cardinali italiani, then he directed other ones to the Italian cardinals, in occasione del conclave seguito alla morte di Clemente V. So he wrote to them whilst they were, after Clemente V died, they had to choose another pope. Per lamentare la schiavitù e corruzione della Chiesa in Avignone ed auspicare il ristabilimento della sede pontificia in Roma. So during this time, before under Clement V, the actual Roman capital of Christianity went to Avignon in France. And Dante says, no, you can't have it there, it has to be in Rome. Comunque, dichiarandosi Florentinus nazione, non moribus, offre in omaggio a Can Grande della Scala il paradiso e fornisce indicazioni per l'interpretazione generale della commedia. E infine quella all'amico fiorentino, ove Dante si nega sdegnosamente e amaramente all'invito di approfittare di un'amnistia per rientrare in patria. He says, they said, you can come back, Dante, provided you do the following things. And Dante didn't agree with it, so he didn't go. He didn't go back. He said, you can't put any restrictions on me. I'm not going to follow your advice. So he never went back to Florence again. Tough. Dante was tough. Then there were 2 ecloghe latine dirette a Giovanni del Virgilio, grammatico allo studio di Bologna, per respingere con serena urbanità le esortazioni dell'amica che lo voleva attrarre nella dotta città, facendogli sperare l'incoronazione solenne, la quale invece Dante avrebbe desiderato conseguire, come abbiamo detto, a Firenze in riparazione dell'ingiusto esilio. So towards the end of his life, people recognized the greatness of Dante, and Bologna, that had the university there, European university, one of the great universities of Europe of the time, said, come back here, this Virgilio, Giovanni del Virgilio wanted him back, and said, we will give you all the recognition you deserve. And Dante said, no, Florence has to give it to me, otherwise I ain't coming. I'm not coming. And finally, la questione de acqua e terra, in latino di non sicura attribuzione, che sarebbe una dissertazione tenuta dal poeta a Verona allo scopo di dimostrare che il livello dell'acqua non può in alcun punto del globo essere più alto della terra emergente. E so he also was interested in la questione delle acque della terra. He said the waters cannot go above the resurgent earth on earth, of the earth. Otherwise, the whole world will be flooded. Of course, he didn't come to New South Wales. He must have been thinking of it at the time. He said, "Well, the waters, you can't have it." So he sort of was interested in the environment as well. So that's Dante for you. A great man, a great literary figure, a universal genius in many ways. And, I conclude that with him, with this. I will start the next one, because by the time I finish Purgatorio, closer to paradise, I will start also looking at La Divina Commedia as a literary, in its historical literary way. Okay, and then we'll continue with Francesco Petrarca and Giovanni Boccaccio. So stay tuned when I come back. All right, now that's it for now. I need a drink, and I'm gonna be doing one of the first songs. And it's very hot here up here at Insegna, upstairs. It's, you know, it's a hot day. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it's cold, sometimes this. I get the 4 seasons in here. You can't put a air conditioner in a place like this when there's just me. Not right. Okay, so, but I've always enjoyed all types of weather. I used to enjoy the snow. I really have enjoyed the variety of weather conditions. I just don't want them to overpower one another. I want a sort of a balance. That's the idea of the 4 seasons. Ok, this is Massimo Ranieri. Grazie per questa bellissima canzone. Se bruciasse la città. Of course, now music, so I do the lyrics of Italian songs so that you know, in il coro all'improvviso activities, you can choose the 12 songs. This is number 6. Coro all'improvviso program number 6, okay? So if you follow the lessons here, you'll know we've come all the way from number 1 to number 6. There's more to come as well when I come back. Il cuore mio non dorme mai, sa che di un altro adesso sei, tua madre va dicendo che a maggio un uomo sposerai. Ma se in fondo al cuore tuo c'è un ragazzo, sono io. Ma chi l'ha detto? Ma perché non devo più pensare a te? Nessuno sa chi sono io, ma il primo bacio è stato mio. Impazzisco senza te e ogni notte ti rivedo accanto a me. Se bruciasse la città, da te, da te, da te io correrei. Anche il fuoco vincerei per rivedere te. Se bruciasse la città, lo so, tu cercheresti me. Anche dopo il nostro addio, l'amore sono io per te. Il cuore mio non dorme mai per inventarti accanto a me. Non brucia mai questa città, c'è ancora un uomo insieme a te. Ma se in fondo al cuore tuo c'è un ragazzo, sono io. Quel prato di periferia ti ha visto tante volte mia, è troppo tempo che non sa dov'è la mia felicità, impazzisco senza te e ogni notte ti rivedo accanto a me. Se bruciasse la città, da te io correrei, anche il fuoco vincerei per rivedere te. Se bruciasse la città, lo so, tu cercheresti di me. Anche dopo il nostro addio, l'amore sono io per te, per te. Beautiful song, this one, Se bruciasse la città. And now we'll go to Speak Parla Speak. We're going to do Cos'è com'è. Okay, and this is the last bit before there's a second part to this book called Parte Secondo, Lessico, Tematiche e Neologismi. So this is the last one of the introductions of this book, which is very important for the teaching of Italian to all, from from primary to secondary to even to tertiary and adults. Maybe tertiary, yeah, but even then, I enjoy looking at this, reminding me of a lot of expressions that can be used in writing. Cos'è quello? Cos'è com'è? What is it? What is it like? So that's the title. Cos'è quello? Un videoregistratore, una radiocassetta, una calcolatrice, una torcia, lo schermo, il mappamondo, francobolli. Di chi è? È di Marco, è suo. Queste sono le costruzioni. Ecco i giochi a incastro, ecco i giochi a incastro, ecco i giochi a puzzle. Ecco i blocchi, ecco i cubetti. Di che cosa è fatto? Di che cosa è fatta? È fatto di stoffa, è fatto di cartone, maschile e femminile, è fatto di ferro, è fatto di metallo, è fatto di gomma, è fatta di gomma, è fatto di legno, è fatta di pelle, maschile e femminile, cotone, lana, cartapesta, vetro, cristallo, acrile, acrylic, ceramica, oro. I'm going to show you. Oh, welcome to Assunta Lombardi and Paolo Matta. Ok, cos'è? Com'è? Cos'è quello? What's that? A video recorder, a portable radio cassette, a calculator, a torch, the screen, the map of the world, stamps. There it is. Un videoregistratore, una radiocassetta, una calcolatrice, una torcia, lo schermo, il mappamondo francobolli. Di chi è? Di Marco, è suo. Who is it? It's Mark, it's his or hers. Queste sono le costruzioni, ecco i giochi a incastro o ecco i giochi a puzzle, ecco i blocchi, ecco i cubetti. Okay, these are the constructions, here are the puzzles, here are the blocks, and then di che cosa è fatto, di che cosa è fatta, because of the use of the auxiliary essere, then the fatto, fatta, is a past participle, acting like an adjective here, and therefore you have to ask the question appropriately. Di che cosa è fatto? If you think it's feminine, say di che cosa è fatta, you give a clue. So, stoffa is material. Cartone, ferro, metallo, gomma, lecchio, pelle is the skin, cotone, cotton, lana, wool, cartapesta, that's a paper mache. Vetro, cristallo, acrile, that's acrylic. Ceramic, ceramica, oro, ceramic and gold. And then he continues. Argento, metallo prezioso, paglia, vimini, pietra, very important words, silver, precious metal, straw, cane and stone. Cane, I was reading that in Italian. Cane in English. Cane is vimini. Che forma ha? Rotonda, quadrata, rettangolare, triangolare. What shape is it? Round, square, rectangular, triangular. And com'è? How is it? È lungo, corto, grande, piccolo, duro, soffice, liscio, ruvido, pesante, leggero, nuovo, vecchio, pulito, sporco, caldo, freddo, chiaro, scuro, caro, economico, solido, malfermo, liquido, solido. A che serve? Serve per scrivere, non serve a niente, serve per fare tante cose. What is it like? Long, short, big, small, hard, soft, smooth, rough, stiff, floppy, heavy, light, new, old, clean, dirty, hot, cold, light, dark, dear, cheap, solid, wobbly, liquid, solid. What is it used for? It's used to write with. It's not used for anything. It's used for many things. So that's that. Next time we'll continue with addendum. So that's that for Speak Parlour Speak for today, for a little while anyway. Then we'll come back to it. And, it's very enjoyable doing this sort of work online for me. I don't get disturbed. I just received a phone call from my niece, Maria Costanzo, Angerami Costanzo, and, I just say, I can't talk now, so I press the red button. Okay? The next song is Reginella Campagnolo. It's famous from Roberto Murolo. It's a Neapolitan song. I just discovered a cookbook that had the Neapolitan, the Italian and the English. I'm going to keep that book. It's called Campania. There was somebody this morning who said, I'm not going to give it to you. This is for me. Gives me beautiful material in napoletano. Te si fatta una vesta scullata, nu cappiello con nastro e quel rosa, stive in mezzo a 3-4 chantose e parlava francese a così. Fui l'autriere che t'aggio incontrata, fui l'autriere a Tuleto, ignorsì. T'aggio voluto bene a te, tu mi hai voluto bene a me, mo non chiamami più, ma vuoi tu, distrattamente pensa a me. Regine, quando stive conmigo, non mangiava che pane e cerasa, noi campavamo ai vasi e che vase, tu cantavi e chiagniva per me, io cardillo cantava cottico, reginello va bene a sto re. T'ha già voluto bene a te, tu mi hai voluto bene a me, mo non chiamami più, ma vuoi tu, distrattamente pensa a me. Oi cardilla che aspetta stasera, non ho vide, ha già aperta la cagiola, reginella è volata e tu vola, vola e canta, non chiagnere ca. Te a trovare una poltrona sincera, che è più degna di sentirte cantare. T'ha già voluto bene a te, tu mi hai voluto bene a me, mo non chiamami più, ma vuoi tu, distrattamente chiama a me. It says here, distrattamente pensa a me, and then I think someone sang this song and said, distrattamente chiamami in a dream. It's a beautiful song, Reginella. Just beautiful, honestly. And you can get the translation, of course, by going to Google or Safari or to Chrome. Okay, now we're going to go to Parliamo l'Italiano, la flora. Okay, now I'll read it and then sing another song. I'm going to enjoy this because it's all about l'Italia and the songs, and I'll talk about l'impero romano e il latino. So, la flora is the vegetation of Italy. A nord ci sono alte catene di montagne, le Alpi. Lassù sono i ghiacciai e i nevai. Lassù l'inverno dura a lungo e l'estate è breve e non è mai troppo calda. Well, we'll see. I boschi che crescono sulle Alpi in alta montagna sono fatti dunque solo di piante che possono resistere al freddo, come gli abeti, i pini, i larici. Ai piedi delle montagne si stende una vastissima pianura attraversata dal fiume Po. And that's the fiume Po, the main river. It's got a lot of other little rivers coming from the mountain that feeds into it. Nella parte della pianura lontana dal mare l'inverno è piuttosto freddo e l'estate è calda e afosa. So in summertime it's very hot e afosa, humid. A sud delle pianure c'è il lungo stivale d'Italia, the boot, stretto stretto, circondato dal mare, tutto percorso per il lungo dalla catena dei monti dell'Appennino, the Apennines. Questi monti non sono alti come quelli delle Alpi, the not as tall as the Alps one. Qui l'inverno è meno freddo e l'estate è abbastanza lunga. I boschi che crescono in pianura e in collina, fra le zone di montagna e le regioni costiere, sono fatti di alberi che durante l'estate devono sopportare il caldo e d'inverno devono difendersi dal freddo, che però non è così intenso come sulle alte montagne. Essi sono alberi e foglie caduche, cioè alberi che in autunno perdono le foglie come il castagno, la quercia, il platano, il faggio. So a lot of the poetry that we read from Italian poets from the south, they always mention the chestnuts and the oak trees and il faggio, platano, faggio. Ok. Presso le coste, infine, l'aria è dolce e mite per tutto l'anno. Along the coastline it's a lot more mild. Qui non fa troppo freddo d'inverno né troppo caldo d'estate. I boschi che crescono lungo le coste sono composti di alberi che conservano le foglie, le evergreens, si nutrono e crescono per tutto l'anno come l'alloro, l'olivo e il pino marittimo. That's beautiful. The byleaf, the olive tree and the maritime pine tree. So the Italian have got abeti e pini, some of the things that also grow are cultivated. Riso, grano, then there's the querce, castagni, ulivi, pini marittimi, agrumi, oranges, lemons, etc. Okay, now, did I mention, yes, I did mention il mare e il turismo last week. Okay, so that's la flora. Now, the next one is la fauna. But before I do la fauna, and I'm going to time myself a little bit, because there's quite a bit there in Geografia d'Italia. And this is a song by Iva Zanicchi, La Riva Bianca, La Riva Nera, that I normally play and remember during Anzac Day, during that period of when we remember those who have fallen in war and whom we should remember. La Riva Bianca, La Riva Nera, beautifully sung by Iva Zanicchi, this time by Tom Padula. Signor capitano, si fermi qui, sono tanto stanco, mi fermo, sì. Attento, sparano, si butti giù. Sto attento, ma riparati anche tu. Dimmi un po', soldato, di dove sei? Sono di un paese vicino a lei. Però sul fiume passa la frontiera, la Riva Bianca, la Riva Nera. E sopra il ponte vedo una bandiera, ma non è quella che c'è dentro il mio cuore. Tu, soldato, allora non sei dei miei. Ho un'altra divisa, lo so, lo sa anche lei. Non lo so, perché non vedo più. Mi han colpito e forse sei stato tu. Signor capitano, che ci vuol far? Questa qui è la guerra, non può cambiare. Sulla collina canta la mitraglia e l'erba verde diventa paglia. E lungo il fiume continua la battaglia, ma per noi due è già finito ormai. Signor capitano, io devo andare. Vengo anch'io con te, non mi puoi lasciare. No, non ti lascerò, io lo so già, starò vicino a te per l'eternità. Tutto è finito, tace la frontiera, la riva bianca, la riva nera, mentre una donna piange nella sera e chiama un nome che non risponderà. Signor capitano, si fermi qui, sono tanto stanco, mi fermo, sì. Iva Zanicchi doesn't sing it this way, but I think the words are just absolutely magnificent, and therefore they can be read, and you can go into it from the beginning if you want to sing it. Signor Capitano, si fermi qui, sono tanto stanco, mi fermo sì. Attento, sparano, si butti giù, sto attento, ma riparati anche tu. Dimmi un po', soldato, di dove sei? Sono di un paese vicino a lei, però sul fiume passa la frontiera, la riva bianca, la riva nera, etc., etc. And you could do this in a choir. Just beautiful song. What a beautiful song. Anyway, now let's go back to Italia. La fauna, the animals in Italy. Molti secoli fa anche l'Italia era popolata da una ricca fauna selvatica, dalle quali oggi sono rimasti soltanto i cinghiali della Maremma in Toscana e della Sardegna, gli orsi bruni nell'Abruzzo e nel Trentino, i lupi nell'Appennino, i camosci e gli stambecchi delle Alpi. Alcune specie di animali stanno scomparendo, per questo lo Stato ha creato dei parchi nazionali nei quali è proibita la caccia. So in Italy there were very, very many animals, but they've disappeared over the years because of people have hunted them for food. So in the north, you've got i cinghiali, the wild boars, della Maremma in Toscana and in Tuscany and in Sardegna. Gli orsi bruni, the red bears in Abruzzo and in the Trentino area, the wolves of the Apennines, i camosci e gli stambecchi, the foxes, the reindeers, gli scoiattoli. There are a lot of them. So, which are the ones that you will find in Italy? Uccelli, aquila, corvo, fagiano, pernice, quaglia, rettili, biscia e vipera, mammiferi, orso, camoscio, capriolo, stambecco, muflone, cinghiale, lepre, volpe, marmotta, faina, donnola, istrice e lupo. So quite a few animals still in Italy. And of course lots and lots of birds, of course, and fish because of a variety of fish. Let me see what happens next. Yeah. So l'agricoltura, l'allevamento e la pesca, that's next. But before that, we're going to do Che la la. We've done this, but this one is Tom Padula by himself, okay? Another Neapolitan song, this time, of course, from the great Renato Carosone. St'amore me teneva incatenato, ma ho detto basta e mi son liberato. Me pare più turchino mare, me pare più lucento sole, e sto cantando pa felicità. Che la la, che la la. Mo va dicendo che me vola sa. Se crede che mi faccia o sangue amare, se crede che impazzisco e poi mi spara. Che la la, che la la. Non sa che piacere che mi fa, me ne piglia nata più bella e zitella resterà. Che la la, che la la, che la la. A ieri m'ha mandato un biglietto pa figlia do portiere di rimpetto. Mi scrive che non è felice e cavoria con me fa pace, ma io mi sto gustando a libertà. Che la la, che la la. Mo va dicendo che mi vola sa. Se crede che mi faccio sangue amare, se crede che impazzisco e poi mi spara. Che la la, che la la. non sa perché piacere che mi fa, me ne piglia nata più bella e zitella resterà, che la la, che la la, che la la. Then there's music, che la la, che la la, che la la, che la la, non sa perché piacere che mi fa, me ne piglia nata più bella e zitella resterà, che la la, 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 che la la. Another beautiful song. Someone whose girlfriend has left him and is enjoying his newfound freedom. I think that's why a lot of people these days, they stay together after a while. Well, what can you do? That's the life. Now, l'agricoltura e l'allevamento e la pesca in Italia. Ok, quali sono i prodotti si coltivano nelle varie zone d'Italia? Quali animali si allevano? Quali sono le zone più pescose dei mari d'Italia? Quali prodotti si coltivano nel tuo paese? Nel tuo paese, cioè questo è un libro italiano, dall'Italia, nel vostro paese, nel mio paese dell'Australia, è quasi lo stesso, anche di più. Quali animali si allevano? Però per me, come dice Dante, bisogna essere universali, cioè noi siamo sotto la provvidenza di Dio per vivere una vita buona con gli altri, con le varie nazioni. Interesting, the idea that Dante had during the Middle Ages, that they didn't think of the nations, but yet they were full of small nation states, lots and lots of them, in Italy especially, and all over Europe. They fought many wars to unify, and the same happened in China. I'm looking at the Empire of Qin, where the unification of the northern states in China was caused by so many fratricide wars there. Interesting. Okay, so which are the animals? Let's have a look. I bovini, ox, cows. I suini, pigs. Ovini, that's the sheep and goats. And then you got, they grow grano, gran turco, riso, vite for wine, olivo, frutta, agrumi, barbietole da zucchero. And i principali porti in Italia sono Genova, Trieste, Chioggia, Venezia, a Ravenna, Rimini, Ancona, San Benedetto del Tronto, Pescara, Manfredonia, Bari, Brindisi. Look how many there are. And then nothing, Brindisi, nothing in Calabria. Wow. Messina, Catania, Siracusa, Porto Empedocle, Trapani and Palermo. And then also Cagliari and in Olbia. And then we have Salerno, Napoli, Gaeta, Porto di Roma, Livorno, Viareggio e Genova. Those are the main ports of Italy. Not bad. It's a good one. You can find some of these. There it is there. I found this map. Okay, so when you study Italian, you need to look at the various maps of Italy. Sorry, it's hot up here, Am I going to lose my voice? No. Let's soldier on, L'industria. L'Italia, sino a qualche decina di anni fa, era un paese prevalentemente agricolo. That was a long time ago. These are books from 50, 60, 70 years ago. Okay. Today è un paese industriale, it's after the war. And it's one of the most industrialized countries on earth. Well, it used to be, one of a few. Now a lot of the countries have industrialized. And the results we can see in our climate change. Noi sappiamo che l'Italia è un paese povero di materie prime. Italy doesn't have coal, zinc, petrol. Well, then we discover in the region where I come from, in Basilicata, they found, and in Sicilia, they found oil, and they destroyed the pristine environment. I don't know. Sometimes we go forward and then we go backwards. Lucky that those projects are coming to an end. Come può essere un paese industriale? L'Italia compra l'estero di ferro e so they buy all sorts of things from other countries, and Italy has been known to transform some of this. Some materie prime, like ferro, iron, and you make into steel, motors, automobiles, also wool and cotton, and silk too in a way. Italy was very well known for all of this, great industries, which have had their day, and some of them are still going. Chemical industries, for example, here. I don't know. The history of Italy is changing, and it's probably for a student of Italy, we have to look at the territorio italiano as it is today. So there's a lot of there was a lot of immigration, and now there's a lot of immigration into Italy. Okay, so that's what's happening to l'industria. Il commercio will come to il commercio after this, and we'll see. Okay, commerce. So we'll see what happens. But before we go to commerce, there is another song by Massimo Raniere called Rose Rosse. Rose rosse per te ho comprato stasera e il tuo cuore lo sa cosa voglio da te. D'amore non si muore e non mi so spiegare perché muoio per te. Da quando ti ho lasciato sarà perché ho sbagliato, ma io vivo di te. E ormai non c'è più strada che non mi porti indietro, amore, sai perché? Nel cuore del mio cuore non ho altro che te. Forse in amore le rose non si usano più, ma questi fiori sapranno parlarti di me. Rose rosse per te ho comprato stasera e il tuo cuore lo sa cosa voglio da te. D'amore non si muore, ma chi si sente solo non sa vivere più. Con l'ultima speranza stasera ho comprato rose rosse per te. La strada dei ricordi è sempre la più lunga, amore, sai perché? Nel cuore del mio cuore non ho altro che te. Forse in amore le rose non si usano più, ma questi fiori sapranno parlarti di me. rose rosse per te ho comprato stasera e il tuo cuore lo sa cosa voglio da te. Now this song here reminds me of all the times I did weddings, Italian weddings from the 70s, the 60s, 70s, 80s up to the 90s, and then I sort of gave it all away. It's been an interesting journey. This song, it was always sung at weddings, always. And now we also, the focus on roses as well during some Valentine's Day. And it's also an inspiration for me in my poetry, roses. I've got a section on roses. For some reason, this particular flower is regal in nature. Rose rosse, ma ci sono anche rose gialle, rose pink roses, what else? Yellow roses, we've said that. Rose gialle, rose, tanti altri colori, ce ne sono. Rose rossa, beautiful song, and well sung by Massimo Ranieri, for fantastic. Look him up, il grande Massimo. Il commercio in Italia. L'agricoltura e le industrie producono, il commercio distribuisce alla popolazione i prodotti dell'uno e dell'altro. In other words, without commerce, all the things you produce are not going anywhere, except in the local area. But if you want to go outside, within Italy and outside in Europe and in the world, Italy has been exporting. One of the great industry, one of the great departments of government is this export market. All of Italy has benefited enormously. It even has exported its people. Because the Italians, you know, they look for opportunities. It's not always, immigration is not always because of extreme poverty, although that has been, in some years, have been a little bit, you know, the major backdrop to the immigration of Italians within Italy and abroad. But there's also been a political thing within Italy because they, you know, after unification, they needed to build, they concentrated on building il triangolo industriale in the north between Torino, Milano and Genova. And, you know, the port was there. The House of Savoy was close to France, you know, close politically as well, more with France than, say, with the southern states. So with unification, there's been a great challenge to bring about a unified Italy. It's not still unified, but yes, it is. The language is there. People from the north now visit the Italians on a regular basis and vice versa. People are settled down in different regions and also outside. So what are the things that the Italians import? They import macchine, tessili e utensili. So they import textile and utensil machinery. Ferro e acciaio, iron and steel. Coal, wool, even from Australia. Petrol, cotton, wood, cellulose, you know, particular wood from, you know, from different parts of the world. Prodotti chimici, chemical products. Meat, caffè, coffee, semi-oleosi, semi-oleosi. Frumento, grano turco, also wheat and bananas, but so much more. Seeds, you know, seeds, all sorts of seeds. I assume even now with the way the world, you know, Italy and say Australia, England, America, Canada, all the ones that I know, and even outside, where we go to China now, everywhere there's this abundance of food. We can produce enough food to feed all of the world's population, but it doesn't get distributed equally, of course. Some people get more than others, and some people, for various circumstances, they miss out. Pity. The world should be able to feed everyone. And, it can. The Italians export tessuti, fabrics, chemical products, macchine utensili, the utensils from the machines that they import. Macchine per scrivere, well, I'm assuming once upon a time the typewriters, but now they've sort of moved on. I'm assuming that they've gone into tablets as well. I'm not sure, about all this. Electrodomestics, it's whatever is in the house, fridges and TVs, etc. Rice, wine, agrumi, that's oranges, lemons, flowers, oil, pneumatici, that's car tires, marble, mercury, and automobiles. You can look it up, whatever Italy produces now. Ok, la cartina, l'Italia è meno popolata. So this is where the population of Italy is at the time. So this is in the 60s. I'm not going to worry about that for the moment because I want to sing the last song. Okay? Guaglione, this is Renato Carosone, a good way to finish. It's 12:30 already. Gone all right today. Stai sempre cambondata e camminza sta via, non mangi più, non dormi più, che pecondria. Quei picciri che viene a di sta gelosia, tu vuoi soffrire, tu vuoi morire, chi t'o fa fa? Corre in braccio a tua mamma, non fa scema picciri, dille tutta la verità, che mamma te può capire. E passa sotto sto barcone, ma tu sei guaglione, tu non conosci femmine, sei ancora così giovane, tu sei guaglione che ti mise in capo, va a giocare pallone, che vonne di ste lacrime, vatte non mi fa ridere. Corre in braccio a tua mamma, non fa scema picciri, dille tutta la verità, che mamma te può capire. E passa sotto sto barcone, ma tu sei guaglione, tu non conosci femmine, sei ancora così giovane, tu sei guaglione, che te mise in capo, va a giocare pallone, che vonne di ste lacrime, vatte, non mi fa ridere, corro in braccio a tua mamma, non fa scema picciri, dulla tutta la verità, che mamma te può capire. Guaglione, young man, don't worry about her. Go run to that she's a bit older than you. Go back to your mum. Guaglione. These are all songs by Carosone and by we've had also Massimo Ranieri featuring heavily today, and also Roberto Murolo. Basically, that's it. We're finishing lesson 60. It's been a real pleasure for this journey. The journey is concluded with Guaglione, and I want to thank you profusely for your support today and in past lessons. Don't forget, you can go to insegna.com. All of these lessons, presentations, whatever you want to call them, they are in the blog section, and I'll make sure that they'll be all up very soon. Okay, so next week on Tuesdays, I'm no longer here, but don't forget, there's still Sundays, and Thursdays the history one. Sundays on the 8th, I'll return to Dante, but the French and Spanish will continue right through. Okay, on this note, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas in spirit for throughout the year, with joy, happiness. May your health be the best, and may you prosper, and find yourself, if you have lost yourself somewhere, find yourself and keep going. The world is our oyster. And on that note, tantissimi auguri per un buon anno, felice, con tanta armonia per tutti. So, Happy New Year, with happiness and harmony amongst the people, amongst ourselves, and all others who surround us, and the people all over the world, because we want to travel from country to country in safety. May the good Lord look after us. It doesn't matter which religion you believe in, even if you don't believe, somewhere up there, the universe is above us, and we thank it for being there, and we thank him or her, or both, for looking after us in our limited time on this earth. Ciao, arrivederci da Tom Padula, from TomPadulaTV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers. Okay. Ciao.